I hate myself for missing my ex. I I have been like feeling very very like just annoyed at everything since yesterday. But what I realized is that I'm actually annoyed at myself for missing my ex who really treated me poorly, especially towards the end of the relationship. Also, I got a new cat. Hi, Chin Chow. Yeah, Chin Chow is very, very clingy right now. I'm just like very. I just feel like I wanna. I feel like I wanna be angry at everything. Like work makes me angry. My cats makes me angry. Just now I was eating chicken and the chicken that gave me a small, and that made me angry. But yeah, what I realized is that I'm actually angry at myself for missing her, because I think it's the standard that I put myself on, as in I would expect myself to move on right now. It's been maybe 29 or 30 days, might be 30 days already, and I thought I'd be I thought I wouldn't feel I thought I wouldn't miss her really. And like I'm having a cognitive dissonance. I miss her, but I know she really did me dirty in the end. I miss the her that I knew for 4 years, or at least 3.5 years. And like this 6 month, or rather 9 month period where she became someone else, I'm fucking furious how she treated me, really. And I'm furious at myself for missing her. Cause like, what the fuck you miss her for? She treated me like shit. She really disrespected me. And it's like, you can know someone for so long, live with them, and actually knew all her vices, all her bad habits. You thought they wouldn't do that to you, because you wouldn't do that to them. And like, you always gave them grace for their behavior. You give them second, third, fourth chances. But yeah, kindness doesn't change anyone. Kindness can't teach people to act right. Boundaries does. And I believe I did not put up solid boundaries between us, I guess. So that's the one thing that I need to improve. But the funny thing is, the new guy, I just know he's also someone with weak boundaries, just like I was, because that's the kind of guys that she goes for. That's just like her history of her exes. They're all just people with weak boundaries, just like me. And in the end, before the divorce, I did set boundaries, and she didn't like it. She didn't like me having boundaries, not even to hurt her. I'm just protecting myself. So it's kind of funny because the level of dissonance and the lack of self-awareness, I guess. She tends to scoop up, or rather string along men who have weak boundaries, because she doesn't feel like she have control over her life. And then because men with weak boundaries, they're easy to control, and I'll admit I was controlled. But then she also disrespects people with weak boundaries. She tests the boundary and she disrespect, and she just wants to control whoever it is that she's dating. But she ended up not like falling out of love with people like me, like us, like her exes, because she demanded so much control that now she feels like she has to be the man in a relationship. But it's kind of her own doing that it happens like that, because she would not let us or anyone or any man in her life to, like, she won't let us have the freedom to lead. And she's a man hater for sure. She always tweets how she disrespects men, how men are dumb, how men are trash on her Twitter. So like, but she always blames it on the other guy, on the exes. She's always gonna spin the story how, oh, this guy made me feel this and that, and it's always the other person's fault. It's never my fault. I mean, me as my fault, as in her fault. It's never her fault. So yeah, lack of accountability But the, the thing is, she's very good at pretending like she has accountability. And I think that's the one thing that really tripped me up the most, because she's good at pretending. She'll say like, oh yeah, I was kind of at fault as well, blah blah blah. She says it, she knows what accountability is, she just won't act on it. So I guess it's a personal choice. And the funny thing about these kind of people who lacks accountability, they're so unhappy in life, but they'll never take any proper action to make their life better, to be more at peace, to feel safe in themselves. It's always like someone else's fault. I think they call that learned helplessness. Because if it's someone else's fault, then I can't, or rather they can't be happy, you know? They have a reason not to be happy about something or about life. Because if they have to take accountability, that means that all this while they could have been happy, but it's their fault before not taking action. And for someone who doesn't take accountability, that's like their kryptonite. That's a big no for them, because they would no longer be the victim. They may even be the perpetrator, and the narrative that they build up in their mind, the story they tell their friends, the story they spun for the public ears, that's gonna fall apart. And they have so little self-esteem that they can't face that. Like they can't have the public or the friends to see them for who they really are, which is the villain, or rather not the victim, you know? If people recognize that kind of bullshit, then they would have to face the fact that they are kind of bullshitting themselves, and all the problems in their life is actually up to them to change it. It's not someone else's fault. It's their responsibility, and they don't want that. They just want that easy life, that soft princess life. But yeah, I guess it teaches me about people as well. And I thought I was good enough to judge people who would take or not take accountability, would always blame someone else. I thought I was a good judge of character, but I guess I still have blind spots where people maliciously actually make you believe they're a good person, and like actually deep down they know they're not. Or rather, okay, they think they are, they tell themselves that they are good people, but subconsciously they know they're not. Because otherwise, why would you have to pretend to be someone else Why would you have to pretend to be this ideal version of someone, ideal version of how you want people to see you? And like, I know she's referring to my ex is a very good social chameleon, because living 3 for 4 years with her, I know how she changes her behavior, or rather she changes her character depending on who she's talking to. So I mean, if you've never seen someone like that, it's a bit disorienting when you realize that people can be like that. But in her case, it's only like she's so subtle that it doesn't seem like a social chameleon behavior, but she is. And not necessarily like adapting to other people is not necessarily bad. I mean, that's how she has a lot of friends, that's how she's good at networking. But yeah, what's the point of having so much friends, so much network, if you hate yourself, if you treat your family like shit? Family being me, her ex-husband, and even her parents, and even her siblings. And talking about this, I realize how much similarities my ex-wife has with someone in my life, in my childhood, really. Someone in my childhood who really the source of all my trauma. I always thought it was my parents. I mean, half of it, yes, but not all of it. There's someone else. But that person is also learning to heal, and you know, they can't change the past. I can't change how the story ended, but all I can is learn from this divorce, which is really just me trying to reconcile my trauma and wishing that it had a different result than how it was in my childhood. But you can't change the past, so I can only learn from my childhood and also my divorce. And I will like to heal to the point that I will never take any sort of disrespect from anyone ever again. That's my accountability.